Okay.
I feel like I'm gonna
It
fall
will
off.
hurt. You get kicked.
We're playing basket. Okay. This feels too high. That won't blow. I'll make it
I'm helping.
One that's just a few inches long, it's kind of pinkish brown, tapered at both ends, likes to spend its life underground, so when people dig it up, they think it's a worm. And one of our friends over here has caught several of those for us. It's a worm snake, and that varies in shade, in color, in length, up to the longest snake in West Virginia that can be over 8 feet long, longer than this barrier that I have up here. But out of all those snakes, how many are poison, children? How many poison snakes are in West Virginia? He says 2. Everybody think 2? That's right. 2. And they are, which ones? No, the racer's not poison. It's the fastest snake though. Rattlesnake, right. And the other one. Copperhead. That's the only 2. And they have a lot of things that tell us what they are. We can recognize them by their eye. They have an eye like a cat, an elliptical pupil. Your pupil's round. Any snake that has a pupil like yours is like you, not poison. But the rattlesnake and copperhead have this kind of eye. Then in between the nose and the eye, there's another hole or facial pit. So that's why we call them pit vipers sometimes. Maybe you're familiar with that term. That pit is sensitive to heat, and it can pick up less than 1 degree difference in temperature. So it's able to find prey by the heat it gives off in total darkness. And so sometimes they hunt at night or in dark places, under logs, under rocks, places like that. Third thing they have that other snakes don't have are these spatial front teeth. All snakes have teeth, but these are longer and they're hollow, and we call them what? Fangs, right. Only rattlesnakes and copperheads have fangs. And the venom here in the jaw passes through a tube beneath the skin and down through those hollow fangs and drips out the end and into the prey. Rattlesnakes can be yellow, green, gray, brown, black, any shade in between. Can't tell the boys from the girls by the color of the snake. I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I've seen all colors of snakes give birth. So any of them can be female, any of them can be male. But they give live birth, and we don't have to get up real close to see the eye and the pit and the fangs, because there's something else that tells us a rattlesnake is a rattlesnake. What is it? A rattle, right. When they're first born, live, they have one segment on their tail. So you can always tell a rattlesnake by the rattle. No reason to ever confuse it with anything else. Every time it sheds its skin, it gets one more segment. It grows like Pinocchio's nose did when he told a lie. So, and they may shed many times a year, so you can't tell their age by the number of segments because they shed more than once a year. If they have a whole bunch of segments, you might say that's a pretty old snake, but unless you know its birthday, it's impossible to know its age. And when we see a rattlesnake and they see us, they're afraid of us. We're the biggest thing they've ever seen, except for a black bear. Everything tries to eat them. Every carnivore in the forest, every meat eater tries to kill snakes and eat them. And so these snakes have all kinds of enemies. And we're giants, and they shake. Their hands don't shake because they don't have any, but their tails shake. And you might hear that.
When you hear that, you better run.
That's not threatening you, that's not scaring you. That's saying, good grief, you're big, you're scary. I've never seen anything like you before. Are you going to try to kill me and eat me like everything else? and the snake will leave if
That's
we'll
when I
let it.
learned how to swim.
So the rattle is not a threat. The rattle is because they're in front of you. Let's see if we can tell what kind of snake this might be. We'll take a guess here. Here's a snake. Oh, what's this? A rattle. So we have a timber rattlesnake. West Virginia has only the timber rattlesnake.
That's why I'm not moving.
And it's a state reptile, and it's very, very highly protected. You're not allowed to kill these snakes. You're not even allowed to have them in captivity unless you have a special permit, as we do. These snakes give us all kinds of chances to leave them alone. As long as we're no threat, then they're not afraid of us. And if they're not afraid of us, then they have no reason to defend themselves. So when you see one of these snakes, if you just don't hurt it, start beating it with sticks and hitting it with rocks, then you have nothing to be afraid of. Don't try this at home, children. Don't try this at home, okay? I'm simply an extension of the stick. The snake just thinks I'm a tree limb, or the rest of the stick. It can tell the difference in the heat, but I haven't threatened it, and so it's not going to bother me, probably. When you see this or any other snake,
I bet you ever see
and remember this, children, the snake doesn't want to have anything to do with you. You're too big to eat. They can swallow something 5 times the size of their heads. That means we could swallow a pumpkin that big whole if we were snakes. Can you imagine? Not even chewing it up. But we're much bigger than that. And they know they can't eat us. And we don't smell good, and we don't taste good, and we're not their normal food. So what do they want to do? They want to get out of there and leave us alone if they can. And even if we force them to bite us, half the time, if they bit everybody here, half of us wouldn't get any venom. They dry bite, not injecting venom, 50% or more of the time. I was bitten by a rattlesnake one time on the side of the hand. I have no scars, no tissue damage, no nerve damage, nothing. I'm fine. I did receive venom. And if you get venom, you're going to know right away. You'll turn black and blue, you'll blister, you'll swell. The swelling within a few minutes had my whole hand several times normal size. Over the next few hours, it went all the way up my arm. I looked like the puffin doughboy over here. It took about 20 days for that to go down. Took a lot longer to pay the bill because the venom, anti-venom, is $3,000 a vial. And they give you 4 vials on the first dose. That's $12,000. In 6 hours, if your blood's not back to normal, you've got to have 4 more, and that goes on until your blood is clotting normally. So by the time you're done, your bill's somewhere between $70,000 and $100,000. Good reason to leave them alone. But these snakes can only strike half their body length. No snake in North America can strike over half its body length. So children, anytime you see any snake, you do this. You take 2 big steps away and go get a grown-up. Let them decide whether it's safe to be around that snake or not. I'm farther away than that snake is long. I'm farther away than the longest timber rattlesnake ever recorded at over 70 inches. So I'm not only safe from this snake, I'm safe from the biggest rattlesnake ever. And it can only strike half its body length. So I'm over twice as far as that snake can strike, and it doesn't want to have anything to do with me anyway. By the way, more people die from lightning strikes than die from snake bites. The medicine is great, I can testify to that, I've tried it. But it's very expensive. And incidentally, we got a report a couple weeks ago, or a few weeks ago. Somebody was telling me about a guy that ran over a rattlesnake and got out to shoot him with his pistol. He missed. He moved in closer. He missed. He got in closer than half the body length. The snake didn't miss. $18,000 for the dose. So, be careful. Leave them alone. They don't want to fight. It's like us walking up to an elephant and saying, "You want to fight, elephant?" We're elephants to these guys. Any questions on the rattlesnake?
Somebody draw that picture.
How long have you had that rattlesnake?
How long have I had the rattlesnake?
Yeah, that one.
Let me see. It grandfathered in, and it can't be released because it's been in captivity too long. It's probably been with us 4 or 5 years. But the rattlesnake, all the rattlesnakes we get in are wild captured and they're released back into the wild. Except for the ones that can't be released because they've grown up there and they don't know how to behave in the wild.
Did you say it's illegal to kill them?
Pardon me?
Did you say it was illegal to kill them?
Yes, it's illegal to kill rattlesnakes. It's illegal to kill any snakes in West Virginia. So if you do, don't put it on Facebook. You're admitting to a crime and giving them the evidence. The only other snake that's poison is the copperhead. As the name implies, its head is sort of coppery, sometimes like a penny. They only get up to about 52 inches. They don't have as much venom, they don't get as big, and their venom isn't as strong. So when I was bitten by a copperhead, I applied first aid. I didn't say I was good at this, did I? I sucked the venom out, as I did with the rattlesnake. I turned black and blue, I blistered, I started to swell. Went all the way up my arm. Didn't have to have the anti-venom. 20 days, it was back to normal. And I have nothing, no scars, no tissue damage, no nerve damage, nothing. So most of the time when people are bitten by copperheads, they don't have to have the expensive anti-venom. Of course, different people are going to react in different ways, so I would never recommend that you not go to the hospital and have it checked if you're bitten by a copperhead. I don't go anymore because I know how I'm going to react. The way you tell a copperhead is by its tail too when they're first born. For 1 year, the tip of their tail is bright yellow green. And we had 5 born in captivity this season. And I'll try to get these around to you so that you might be able to see the green tails. They're not cooperating right now, they're hiding their tails. But the very tip of their tail, yeah, there's one. The very tip of their tail is bright yellow green. They have the same markings as the adult. They look cute, children, but they're poison at birth. They don't have as much venom, just a few drops. Oh, excuse me, just a second. I have to get my mask on. Don't spoil it. Thank you. You can see one's tail right there. Pretty yellow green, lime green on the tip. Right there where my finger is. Can you see it? Okay.
They'll probably come around.
Anybody back here want to see? Can you see it sticking out there? So children don't even pick up little snakes. Now let me show you how to kill a copperhead. After they grow up to 1 year.
Are you scared?
Don't they supposed to smell like a cucumber?
No, sir. I heard that too growing up, but they do not smell like a cucumber.
I was just wondering, I always heard it smelled like a cucumber.
That's what I've heard too.
What?
That they smell like
Here's the way you
cucumbers.
tell a copperhead whether it's young or old. After a year, their tail's like the rest of their body, but they have marks that you can see from far away. They have marks that you can see from far away. And those marks are shaped like the grades you get in school, A's. They're small at the top of the back and they widen out at the belly. So all you have to do is remember when you see a snake with A-shaped marks that you can see from far away, it must be a copperhead, right? It's the only snake in the eastern United States that has those marks. No snake looks like it. No other snake looks like it at all. I'm going to let this go around, and you can take a close-up look at that if you'd like. You'll never mistake any other snake for a copperhead once you know its characteristics. Let's see what kind of snake this is.
This is a black snake.
You know, I don't know for sure, but this dude who everyone had him hold us, had a snake around our necks.
Yeah, you can see marks on that snake. You can see it from far away. They're very clear, very distinct.
Oh, maybe is it a copperhead?
It has sort of a coppery head. The marks are smaller at the top of the back and widen out at the belly. That makes it a copperhead. Makes it easy to identify.
It's got a flat head and a blunt tail.
Mistaken for any other snake. And copperheads don't get nearly as big, so they're not nearly as bad. They're not nearly as dangerous. They still give us 50% of the time. Keep us from being, they drop like 50% or more of the time. And so, once again, if you leave them alone, they're happy to leave you alone as well. Any questions on the copperhead? Those are the only two pairs of snakes now you can identify them.
Over at Nettie. There's a den of them at our house.
Mr. Moose.
Just open on the bed, you guys.
Mr. Moose.
You're okay.
Mr.
All right,
Moose.
now we're going to look at some snakes. Close up.
Mr. Moose. We have a question back here. Stand up.
Okay.
Stand up and be loud.
I've been near a Copperhead before.
What is it?
I've been near a Copperhead before.
You've been near a copperhead before. Okay.
Have you caught one before?
You also may have noticed
yeah.
that copperhead has a
Brown snake.
Yeah,
There are two
maybe.
myths that are always associated with copperhead. They have the blunt tail.
Way
No, they
before,
don't.
it was probably before you were
Some
born.
water snakes have a blunt tail, so people are confusing them with water snakes. The second thing is they smell like cucumbers. No, they don't. There's no cucumber under without a copperhead. There are
like this.
plants in the forest that sometimes have a cucumber odor, and so that's probably what we're smelling when we pick up a cucumber odor. But I've had dozens of copperheads in captivity over the years, and none of them ever smelled like a cucumber. I'm going to bring some snakes around for you to look at. The rest of them are harmless. I've only been bitten a few times by poison snakes, but I've been bitten hundreds of times by snakes that are
Don't be scared. It's not poison.
If you want to hold a snake, you can. But we do it like this. Hands flat. Don't squeeze the snake.
you hold one,
Don't
too.
touch its head. That's the only thing to do.
Dad, will you hold one?
If you don't want to have
Mom, will you hold one?
hand up, and I'll stay away.
I'll get pictures of you holding one now, okay?
We're going to start with
I'll get a picture.
I ain't good snakes and dead, but my part of
Give birth about half lay eggs. This one's an egg layer. It has a yellow spot and a circle around its neck. Guess what we call it?
Ring snake.
Ring neck. Yeah. It has a bright yellow belly, orange belly. When this one grows up, it's going to be solid white. It's also an egg layer. It can get over 8 feet long.
Dad, can you hold a snake?
I'll hold the camera for you. I'm not sure. I'll hold the camera.
Just have your hands out, open your hands, is.
That's just teeny tiny little baby ones.
You want to hold it?
Yeah. With a bite.
No. I think the mouth. Is it?
Well, I tell you what.
Covered with scales like the rest of the body.
Yeah, we're at the visit now. Oh, yeah. We were taking pictures of her. I'll talk to you in a while.
This is a black snake. When it grows up, it's going to be solid black. But children never pick up a snake unless there's a grown-up there to tell you it's okay.
I got their hands.
I just got your head.
And it can have 80 to 100 blind
Snake is not
We just released about 50 yesterday that had been born in captivity at the Nature Center. It's the most common snake. Everybody sees it. It has little squares and a white line down the side and a white line down the back. Usually. It's in your lawn, it's in your garden, it's called a
Garter snake.
garter snake.
Garter snake.
They're cold-blooded, so their body temperature's whatever the air is. They're just a really And snakes can't hear you scream. They don't have an external ear opening. They hear primarily through picking up vibrations.
Just like to let you know that we do need volunteers in the park. We need you to sign in. We need your phone number. We need you to come here and help. Do you enjoy the park? Do any of you enjoy the park? You come here, you walk around, you have picnics here. Well, about 6 senior citizens are keeping this park nice and shiny. So if you think maybe you enjoy the park, you might get a donation.
Yeah.
Sale over there. Children, we have a few free prizes over there after they enjoyed the show. Okay? And we'd like to also let you know that cigarette butts do not disappear when you run along the ground. Are any of the kids aware that cigarette butts don't disappear when you drop on the ground? Okay? Y'all kids understand that? Raise your hands if you understand that. Adults understand that vape cartridge, beer cans, Mountain Dew cans do not disappear because you threw in
That's fine.
It just means you actually made me have bloodshed to clean up the trash.
I get a lot of calls on it every year. I've picked up several of these accused of being copperheads, but they have, instead of A's, they have ovals, circles. And the brown ovals are outlined in black. They have a checkered belly, and they're egg layers. And they have a milky background color, so they're called milk snake. They can get 4 or 5 feet long, real common. Oh, I missed you. Start over here, I'm not going to miss you again.
No, I think I take a video because that was funny.
Well, hell.
Kira and Riley is going to hold a milk snake.
Are you going to hold it?
Get your hands out. You can make that when you get back. Okay, get up there beside her where I can see you.
Children, put your phone away.
I'll get a picture of you. Yeah. Hey, Riley. Ask you to hold this thing and check it, okay?
Put your hands on her
When you get a hold of this thing, okay? What? Look at me whenever you hold it. Damn it, Dad. I'm sorry. Look at me, Riley. Are you scared?
A little farther apart.
There you go.
There you go.
All right.
That's good. All snakes can swim above and below water, but this is the best swimmer, the fastest one. I've tried to hold his breath for over 10 minutes.
Bye.
Don't know how long it's over. Guess what it's called?
2, 1.
It has marks, but you can't see them from far away. You usually can't see them on most water snakes. So there's no reason to confuse it with the copperhead. As a matter of fact, the copperhead the rabbit has marks that like a staff. Like a staff. 65 young.
These kind of water snakes are
Put your hands a little bit farther apart.
What do they make like this? Fish and stuff?
A little bit farther apart.
After this one, you want to take it over.